I'm Christopher Reben, and welcome to Seat Talk. Alright, today is August 14th. The Phillies just played the Reds yesterday. Seat Talk, this is going to be a great new spin-off of the Bruise Brothers in the Bruise Brothers Network. We're going to be talking about mostly the Phillies here and just around the league, base MLB, whatever's happening, all the big major news events. But we really just want to recap Phillies games about twice a week. We'll go through whatever is happening, some major player decisions, major team decisions, major games, moments, whatever Phillies we're talking about here. Tonight we're going to dive into the Phillies baseball, some of the games last night, Phillies against the Reds, their loss. We're going to talk about major action around MLB, and we're going to talk a little bit about youth baseball with the Lily World Series coming into play. Last night, Phillies got shut out by the Reds, 8-0. They were in Cincinnati last night, great game. They had 25,000 fans at the stadium. The Reds won this series though 2-1 after the Phillies were on a great winning streak right now. Some key moments though. Hunter Green, he dominated with 6 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts, no walks. His fastball was above 100 miles an hour last night. Sanchez, he didn't look terrible, but he went 6 innings, let up 4 runs, 3 of those earned, which is very unlike him for this season. He hit his season high of 157 strikeouts this year. But with those 6 strikeouts, he just couldn't hold the Reds to anything, and our bats just really couldn't get going. The biggest problem with last night's game was some defensive miscues. Brandon Marsh and Sanchez both had errors in this game. Marsh has been pretty solid in the outfield and just a solid player all around for the Phils, but last night he really let it slip. So did Sanchez. Also, a grand slam in the 7th. Who let that up? Romano's one of those guys, when he comes in out of the bullpen, he's hit and miss if you're going to get something out of him. You're going to get a good couple innings out of him. And this is something that Dave Dombrowski should have looked at after, before the trade deadline, before the season even started. We brought this guy in to be able to be a shutout reliever, and he's done nothing but let runs in and just completely screw up this entire game. Some key moments from the games, though, like I said, there was a grand slam in the 7th. Reds got an 8-0 lead after that one. Sanchez allowed runs. Brandon Marsh allowed runs. The Phillies had 3 hits total against the Reds 8. 8 runs for the Reds, none for the Phillies, complete shutout. And we had 3 errors. The Reds were 2 for 6 with errors last night. And runners in scoring position. Let's see who we leave on. The Phillies had 5 runners left on base. They were 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. The bats just were not going last night whatsoever. A total of 3 hits for the Phils. This Phillies offense needs to get going. It is something that has been plaguing the top of the lineup since the All-Star break. Trey Turner finally has been finally stepping up a little bit. Bryce needs to get going. Schwarber's the only one at the top right now. And his solo home runs, they're not really doing much for this team. They're putting us ahead, but are they really getting hit in key moments? But all in all, the Phillies need to step it up. They have a game, Thursday against the Washington Nationals. Right now are 48-72 with the Phillies 69-51 after last night's game. We're gonna have Jesus Luzardo going on the mound, lefty. He's 11-5 on the season, but his ERA really has jumped up in the second half of the season with a 4.20 ERA, which is he started off great. He's been amazing, but with this jump in his ERA, is this sustainable for him overall? This is something that this Phillies team is a winnable Phillies team. They can win games if they want to. They're going to win games, but are we going to be able to sustain any of this throughout the playoffs? Right? These past couple years, we have been going lower and lower in the playoffs. Making it to the World Series, and the NLCS, and the DS. Are we going to even make it past? If we get put in a wild card spot this year, which we shouldn't because we're 4.5 games now above the Mets. Are we going to be able to withstand this and win series within playoffs? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Let's we're gonna move on. Let's talk into a second segment. It's just a couple hot takes from around the season. This is a segment that we're gonna do with Sea Talk, just hot takes. We're gonna ask questions and have fans be able to comment, give us what their hot take is, and we can discuss it every week or twice a week, and have it be a discussion within the fans. So before we hit any of the other MLB games, let's do our hot take for this week. Hot take for this week: the Phillies bullpen is more of a liability than an asset right now. It showed with Romano giving up that grand slam last night. And if they do not fix this before the playoffs, could it cost them the NL East? Personally, I think it could. The bullpen is going to be our saving grace as we get deeper and deeper into the playoffs. You're looking at something where we have gone to the playoffs year after year after year since 2022, and our starters cannot withstand continuously going this deep into a season. Our bullpen's really going to have to step up, get us deeper into games, and be able to hold that starter's lead that we can get, because our bats can do the job. But if our bullpen can't hold the lead that we acquire from our offense, are we going to be able to win games? At the end of the day, defense wins games, not offense. We could hit 1,000,000 home runs, but if we don't hit 1,000,001 home runs and our bullpen does not hold that lead, we're going to lose games later in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning of the games. Comment if you agree or disagree. Drop a hot take in our comment below. Give us what you think should be our next week's hot take, and let's discuss this a little bit. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? All right, moving on. Let's go look around the league a little bit, see what other things are happening within the MLB. The Red Sox, they 14-1 against the Astros. Alex Bregman, he homered against his former team for second straight game in a row. Carlos Nevarez added a 3-run shot and led Boston to a dominant win. Braves 11-6 win over the Mets, which is huge for the Phillies right now. We got to continue to have the Mets lose, and when they do lose, we got to capitalize on that loss. Michael Harris powered a grand slam over center field. It's his 13th homer of the season. It gave the Braves a 9-6 lead over in the 4th inning. The Pirates-Brewers game, Pirates won 4-3. Joey Ortiz made a stellar play to end the 1st inning, and Nick Gonzalez had a key at bat in this game. But all in all, the league's really heating up. We're coming down to the final parts of the summer. The baseball is flying out of the park right now. Homers are at their peak right now with this August heat, with the humidity coming in. It's very exciting, especially with the Mets losing. Phillies really need to start capitalizing on this Mets losing streak. And when the Mets are Metting, in all seriousness of it, the Mets are going to do what the Mets do. We can't just let the Mets get away with these losses and not win. Continue to win games in all seriousness. All right, moving on. Let's talk about this Little League World Series that's coming up. Very exciting. August 13th, 20 teams, double elimination from around the world. We get to see the United States players compete, and then the international players compete for one final World Series game, where international versus a American team competing to see who is the best Little League team within this country. Right now, Connecticut and Texas, Texas won with a 1-0 win. Their pitcher, Luca Pellegrini, had a complete game shutout with 11 strikeouts, which is huge for that kid. Venezuela, Puerto Rico, they won. Venezuela won 5-0. The kids overcame overcoming visa and family issues, something that their fans aren't able to really come and watch them. They don't have that support at home. So let's see what else. But other than that, nothing really happened, and we'll keep you updated on the Little World Series as it continues. Tell us what you think. All right, let's move on. Just some final thoughts. The Phillies had that tough loss last night. Offense and defense definitely need some fixes right now. We're really powering through games, but our offense, especially top of the order, really needs to step up and do what we paid them to do. As well, our defense, we can't have these errors in games. The errors lose games. End of story. You could have a great game, but if you have 3 errors in a game, you're going to lose that game no matter what. MLB, plenty of drama to follow. Keep an eye on the big storylines, what's happening. It's very exciting to watch these Mets lose and see if they can continue to lose and let the Phillies capitalize on this. Let's get a bigger lead in the NL East so we don't have to worry once the end of the season comes. Little League, it's great. It's very inspiring. It's great baseball to watch because the competitiveness is there, something you don't really get to see with the MLB sometimes until playoffs, end of the season. All right, so to wrap this up, stay tuned. We're going to try putting out an episode about twice a week, give or take. We're also going to be putting out our Bruise Brothers episodes once a week at the end of the week. If you don't know, Bruise Brothers, what we're doing is we talk about Philly sports, anything that's really happening around all the sports, as well as we review beer from the local craft breweries in this area. So our next one, we're going to be reviewing Ring the Bell from Conshohocken Brewing Company. They sent us some beer a while ago, and we really haven't gotten a chance to do it. So we're gonna sit down, review that, talk about the Eagles, talk about the Phillies, and then our next episode that we put out for Sea Talk, we're gonna be talking about the National Series, see how the Phillies did there. Hopefully we get some wins. And then just, hopefully there's some huge moments in that series as well around the league. But I'm really excited to start this channel, seeing what happens and being part of the Bruise Brothers Network. We really just want to talk Philly sports, talk about baseball, talk about football, and really grow and see what happens with this. It's very exciting. If you're a Philly sports fan, or if you're just interested in the MLB or Philly in general, give us a watch. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share this with your friends, please, so we can continue to grow and hopefully we can get better recordings, better studio, better area to be able to produce better content for you. Thank you.